Hey everyone, Daniel here from Team Kuribrohs, and today I'm coming with you with a bit more of a casual deck profile. Regional season is kind of on hold in Ireland at the moment, so I'm back playing just decks that I enjoy at locals. So I figured I would start out with one of my all-time favourites, Buster Blighter. The last time I've played this deck properly was probably around Blue Eyes format. Obviously, the deck really struggled during links because it already was quite low resource, and not being able to set up your fusion and your synchro at the same time was really challenging. So it's really nice that the deck is viable again. And if you have any thoughts on the build, I'd really appreciate them because this is something that I did just kind of throw together. But I was pretty happy with how it went. So first off, we have the monsters. We have 2 Buster Blighter and 1 Buster Blighter the Destruction Swordsmaster. So this is fairly standard. I have seen certain lists running triple Buster Blighter, or like different ratios of these. The Destruction Swordmaster is handy to have available, and then there are certain scenarios where you'd rather to have the Buster Blighters. So not 100% certain on those ratios, but they were working fine for me. Then we have the best card in the deck, Triple Buster Whelp of the Destruction Swordsman. On summon, this lets you add any of the Destruction Swordsman cards from your deck to your hand, and then if you control it, you contribute it to special summon Buster Blighter from your hand, or any Buster Blighter from your graveyard. So the Destruction Swordsmaster only counts as Buster Blighter while on field and graveyard. So that's just one of the reasons why he's worse than actual Buster Blighter. And then if you control Buster Blighter, you can discard a Destruction Sword card to summon Whelp back from graveyard. But generally we're just using it for its normal summon effect. It's also a level 1 tuner, which is quite handy. Then we're playing Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. This one people might be familiar with because Union Carrier had been equipping it to stuff. So you can target Buster Blighter you control and equip this from your hand to it, or from your side of the field. While it's equipped to a monster, your opponent can't special summon from the extra deck, which is obviously bonkers. And then also, if this is equipped, you can special summon it, but you can only use that effect once per turn. So it means that we get to lock our opponent out of summons, and then we can just summon it for link fodder on the following turn. And again, it's a level 1 Dragon Tuner, which is quite handy. Then we have Triple Prologue of the Destruction Swordsman. So I haven't played this in ages, and I had actually forgotten that this sends for cost, which is really cool. So it means they can't ash this. So once you have Prologue plus 1 Dragon or Buster Blighter in grave, you have full combo, which is quite nice. But yeah, so you send a Buster Blighter and one of the Destruction Sword cards from deck to graveyard, and then you get to summon the Synchro monster. And also you can banish this from graveyard to protect a Destruction Sword card you control from destruction. Then I was playing 2 Destruction Sword memories. Obviously this is a lot worse than Prologue. This lets you discard a Destruction Sword card, special summon Buster Blighter from hand or deck. Or just from deck. But you can banish it from the graveyard plus the materials to make Buster Blighter Destruction Swordsman. So basically you just want to send this off Prologue. I don't think I ever resolved its effect to discard, and realistically, hands where you do resolve it properly, you're probably just losing that game. And then we have Destruction Sword Flash, normal trap card. If you control a fusion monster that lists Buster Blighter as material, you can banish all monsters your opponent controls, and if they target, you can banish this from grave to negate. Then hand traps, we're on triple Nibiru, triple Ogre, 2 Ash. Nibiru is obviously bonkers right now. I'd probably change these ratios for locals. The thing that I did lose to yesterday was Fluunderies, and while Ogre and Ash are good into that, Nibiru is worse than something like Imperm. So yeah, those can change. Ogre is kind of non-negotiable for stuff that we have further on, and then Ash is obviously just generically great, so no reason not to play it. Then we are on 2 Preparation of Rites, 2 Magician Souls, 2 Illusion of Chaos. So this is actually what it made me think about the deck in the first place, because I had picked up Illusions because I quite enjoy playing decks that can play souls, and I was like, oh well, Buster Blader has a lot of graveyard stuff with spells and traps, so maybe it would be a good fit. I think the awkward thing with this, the downside is, realistically, to do your combo, you need to activate Prologue. So souls can help you find it by discarding bad spells and traps to draw it. But it doesn't actually synergize too well by just sending the stuff to the graveyard. Regardless, this is still just super strong in the deck because we're always wanting to get at least 2 bodies. So yeah, it performed very well. Obviously the Souls package is just bonkers. Then I was playing Tree Pot of Prosperity. These are flex spots. They probably should just be hand traps. I just wasn't really sure what to put in, so I just grabbed what I knew would work fine. Then we have 1-for-1 and Called by the Grave. These 2 cards are great. 1-for-1 gets us into our Whelp, and Called by the Grave, we're doing kind of combo-y stuff, so Called by is decent. Then I was playing Triple Emergency Teleport, so this can summon Ghost Ogre from the deck, or it can summon the 1 Psy Reflector. Psy Reflector being a level 1 tuner also means that we can get it off 1-for-1. So lots of ways into this. When the Psy Reflector is normal or special summoned, we get to add our Assault Beast, which we then discard to add Assault Mode Activate. And then Psy Reflector can reveal Assault Mode Activate, bring back Beast as a level 7. And then we have the option of either syncing the 2 to summon Buster Dragon, or we can just go into our Link 2s. So very flexible. And then to round out the deck, we have 2 Fusion Destiny and 2 Destiny Heroes. Frustrating thing with this format is that, like, any deck that's wanting to do combo stuff, unless it has very good reason not to, can literally just play this stuff, because if you do get interrupted, if you can get into Verte, you at least end on quite powerful interaction. So that was the main deck. Again, I think I highlighted the spots that I wasn't sure on. I wouldn't really consider playing any of the other Buster Blader stuff, but interesting on people's thoughts. Then for the extra deck, we have 2 Buster Blader Fusion, 2 Buster Dragon, and 2 Protector Whelp. So if I was wanting to take this deck in a more competitive direction, I would be inclined to just play one of each of these and maybe trim the Buster Blader package. Because basically what I experienced, and again, maybe with more testing, this would be different, but realistically, on your opponent's turn, you summon your Buster Blader and your Buster Dragon, you stun them for a turn, and then you use these as materials to go into things like Access Code to end the game. So if you're looking to end games quickly, I'm just not convinced that you ever actually make the second copies. So that's just something to be aware of. Protector Whelp is quite interesting. I hadn't actually played with this card before, so it's any 2 monsters, which means if we end up opening like Psy Connector souls, we can go into this anyway. It on Link Summon lets us Foolish a Destruction Sword card, and then if we have a Buster Blader monster in hand, we can summon it. So it summons either of the Buster Bladers from hand. And then also just at the end of the battle phase, if our opponent controls no monsters and we control a Buster Blader that hasn't attacked on our turn, we can do damage equal to its attack to the opponent. So it basically makes up for the fact that Buster Blader can't attack directly. For anybody who's not familiar with it, Buster Dragon makes all your opponent's monsters become dragons, and Buster Blader, the Dragon Destroyer Swordsman, switches all dragons they control to a defense, and they can't activate the effects of dragons in their possession. So, yep, again, very fun combo to resolve. Then we have Verte and Phoenix Enforcer, very simple. Again, you could argue to play the Buster Blader fusion spell or some way to fusion summon Buster Blader with Verte, but I think you're just making your deck less consistent at that point. Crystron Halqifibrax, this is a very honest Halqifibrax deck. Honestly, generally when summoning Halqifibrax, I would summon it literally just to get another dragon name in the grave. So if we already know we have combo, we can throw Dragon Buster into the graveyard, and that means during the opponent's turn, when we summon Buster Dragon and Buster Blader, we can just attach to like guarantee that they're locked out of extra deck, and then just have extra bodies for the following turn. So I think Calcifibrax is actually quite good in this deck. And then we just never use the second effect. But yeah, getting dragons from deck is quite nice. A Link Kuriboh with a really bad hand. If you have no extenders, you normal summon your Buster Whelp. And Buster Whelp searches your trap card. Then you need to link your Buster Whelp away, so it's in the graveyard. So then when you activate your trap card, you get to send your Destruction Sword Memories and your Buster Blader. And because you have the Buster Whelp in graveyard, that means you do have the materials to do your fusion summon. So the Link Kuriboh realistically could just be Almirage or something like that instead. But I think Link Kuriboh is just strictly the best one for that. Then we have Dark to Dark Charmer Gloomy. I just wanted a generic Link too. We have plenty of Darks because we have the 2 Souls and the Psy Reflector. And then we also have the one of Small Dragon as well. So lots of ways to go into this. Obviously, really good cards, steal opponents, Phoenix Enforcers, and lots of good Darks in the format. Then we're playing 1 Unicorn, 1 Access Code Talker. So the way I was playing this again was you go first, build your lock, and then turn 2, you just use Unicorn and Talker to simplify the board down and end the game. And then 2 flex spots, I was playing Borreload Savage Dragon and Chaos Ruler. So a cool thing with Borreload Savage Dragon is if you open multiple extenders, you can summon this before going into your Verte. So an example would be we could go like Whelp, if we have like Whelp and Magician Souls, then we can go to 2 into something like Protector Whelp effect, send a Destruction Sword card, summon a Blader from our hand. And then if we have Emergency Teleport or access to the Psy Reflector package, we can kind of do Link 2 stuff. And then once one of the Link 2s are in graveyard, we can use the Assault Beast plus a level 1 or Buster Blader plus a level 1 to make Savage and bring back whatever Link 2 we'd already made before going into our Verte. And then Chaos Ruler is probably terrible because he conflicts with the Phoenix Enforcer package. But I wasn't sure because if you summon this before your normal summon, then potentially the Buster Blader lock is actually more valuable than the Phoenix Enforcer. So, yeah. But yeah, those 2 are definitely the ones that you could replace the most easily. And then for side deck, we played 2 Cosmic Cyclone, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster for back row, 3 Triple Tactics Talent, 3 Cross Out, 3 Evenly, 3 Trap Trick. I have seen builds maining the Trap Trick, and it's something that I would like to explore more, because realistically, the most important card to do Buster Blader stuff is the prologue of the Destruction Swordsman. So maybe there's a world where I play like a 60 card build with triple trick, triple prologue, but we'll need to see. Again, the side deck is kind of just thrown together, so open to ideas if people have them. Realistically, I feel like Impermanence is worth siding in combo decks like this if you're not maining it already, again, because it just means that you can play true decks such as Flunder. But yeah, so that's the deck profile. Overall, again, I'm pretty happy with it. I wonder if there are kind of extenders that are more generic or less expensive, because obviously the Souls package is quite pricey at the moment. But yeah, so interested to hear if you have any thoughts, or if you do try it out, let me know. It is a cool archetype. It's nice that it's one of the retrain archetypes where the original monster is in fact playable and worth playing. Like there are advantages of Buster Blader over the Buster Blader retrain. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. We'll be back with more deck profiles, and we will hopefully see you at an event soon.